Welcome to my channel. This is the Diamond Chrysalis, aka Divested Diamonds. This is divestment with purpose, and you have arrived. Welcome back. So, we're going to continue on from where we left off in part 1 of the video. We've covered the Dusty's comment, which everybody knows is complete BS. As mentioned earlier, I went to the Dusty's channel because, well, I wanted to know what level of dust I was dealing with. And boy, oh boy. I barely made it out alive. But anyway, I found a video of him talking shit about divestors. No facts, just projection as always. Let's take a listen, and my commentary will follow thereafter.
See, the real trick of interracial dating, for some reason you'll have these black chicks that are they get with a Brad, and they get with somewhat lucrative Brad that got money enough to, buy them shit, but buy them exclusively a huge amount of wig collections. And see, that Brad gotta see her with a different wig on every day. She can't rub her fingers through her hair like Becky and Susan can. And see, if you ever pay attention, you notice these Keishas, when they get around white women and they have white men that somewhat got money, they keep their white woman on a short leash. They'll try to keep their white man away from their white woman. Because she know that white woman don't have to do nothing but throw her blonde hair or her brunette hair all the way back and rub her finger through their hair. And she done tuck that black woman's man. So that's the fear that, that these Keishas that divest have a fear of white women. They have a fear of white women. Now, do black men have a fear of white men when we with Becky? Fuck no, we don't got no fear. Hell no, we don't got no fear of, if a black man with a white woman, we do not have the fear of Brad. And actuality is Brad have a fear of us. That's the real reality of it. And see, Brad don't have no fear of us when he's with Keisha, because 9 times out of 10, we don't give a fuck. That's for all the divestors out here. Niggas don't really give a fuck about you being with Brad. We can give a fuck less about that because we know what we can get. You see what I'm saying? And we don't have to go all the way out to try to get with Becky either. See, we don't have to wear wigs and shit like that. We don't have to change our voice up and code switch and shit and try to act like a white woman like y'all do. Y'all got to try to act as much like a Becky just to get the appeal of that white man. And then sometimes them white men are turned off by that shit. Because actually they want a black woman to be a black woman. That's how they met your ass. But now you was coming to them fake all the time, so it wouldn't matter. You was coming already being disingenuous with them from the jump. So that's why I said it's completely different when black men are a date and then with white women, black women are a date. Black women have to pretend to be something that they are not. Black men don't. We don't have to wear no wigs. We don't have to try to try to talk like a white dude, because that's not what catch. That didn't catch the white woman. The white woman intrinsically like black men aesthetically to be black men. That means they like our voice, they like the way we talk, they like all this shit. So we don't have to pretend to be something that we're not. Even though we can code switch, fine, that's no problem. I can do that. But why should I? And see, just imagine if me as a black man, and I'm not even into white women, but I don't, no problem with white women, no problem. But I'm not even into white women. But even if I did go with get with a white woman, I wouldn't change who the fuck I am to be with one. I wouldn't have to change my identity to be with one. Y'all gotta wear wigs. Y'all gotta lighten y'all skin. Y'all gotta damn near dress like RuPaul and shit. That's what y'all be looking like, RuPaul and shit. And see, the funny thing is, if a white woman come in the room and give your white man a look, I'm gonna tell you something. If a white woman really wants your man for you kisses that I date a squirrel, if a white woman really wanted your man, it wouldn't be hard for them to take it from you. See, but with black men, it'd be difficult at best for a white man to take a white woman back from a black man. And don't let that brother have money, then you gotta bet. She ain't going no goddamn. She's not gonna leave Tyrone for Brad. Tell her she ain't gonna do it. But Brad will leave you for Becky. He'll leave you for Becky. See, that's why y'all black women be so y'all are talking about we insecure because y'all wig wearing asses with a white man. We don't even give a fuck because we know you gotta wear fake hair. You gotta try to not to act like a black woman like a Keisha. And soon as she leaves, that Keisha comes. You can't hold that Keisha in for too long. And see, that's another thing. Cause when that white man, he might marry you for a few seasons. But I'm telling you, if a Becky come along and that Becky wants your white man, she can take your white man if she wants. She can take your white man if Becky wants your white man. All she has to do is throw her blind, her back, rub her feet through her, and look at that white man. And he look at her, he lock his eyes on her, and that's when your marital problems gonna start, or your relationship problems will start. Because ain't no Becky can take your white man from you. But you know what? Brad can't take Becky from Tyrone. And that's what both of y'all hate. Brad hate that, and Keisha, you hate that, with the knowledge known that Becky and Susan can take your white man.
Is it really shocking to any of you that his first complaint about black women in interracial dating was the number of wigs that Brad could afford to buy for his own woman? Do I detect a little jealousy there? That's what it sounds like. My thing is this. What is the problem with some of these black males and their obsession with black women's hair? It's very bizarre. It's very, very weird. It's a very strange obsession and not very masculine for any male to constantly worry about the hair, makeup, or any other accessories that women use to enhance their beauty. Black males do this all the time. And because a lot of them are devoid of masculinity or masculine traits, they don't see anything wrong with this behavior. It's very obvious to anyone with half a brain that this behavior comes from the absence of parental male figures in their lives. They don't even hear how effeminate they sound because most of them are surrounded by women growing up. Notice how a lot of their humor is very childlike. He chuckled because even at his big age, he still suffers from arrested development. This is the kind of behavior and humor I'd expect from a delinquent teenager. Denigrating women or any woman's appearance is only funny for males with low IQ. These males may possess the bodies of adults, but mentally they're still underdeveloped. And some might say that mentally they're still children. And that's an insult to children because at least they have an excuse for not knowing much about life. Men are allowed to have preferences when it comes to dating, as are women. If you don't like women who wear wigs, weave, etc., that's fine. There are plenty of women who don't. And this notion that all Black women wear wigs is the biggest load of old tosh I've ever heard. Again, these males have a hatred for Black women specifically and choose to be willfully ignorant about our hair and how it's constantly being politicized, how it's constantly being used as a political tool to discriminate against us. And this is not victimhood. These are facts. The Crown Act wouldn't need to exist if society wasn't so intimidated by our hair. We're the only group of people within humanity whose natural hair intimidates people, corporations, etc. But because Black males, for the most part, don't have to deal with this nonsense, they join the other side to ridicule Black women. Fair use, YouTube. Fair use.
Black women are more than 1.5 times more likely to be sent home from work because of their hair, according to a recent study by Dove. Today, 19 states have enacted laws to prohibit discrimination based on natural hair, and legislation has garnered support from both state and federal legislators. Hello and welcome to Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Tatiana Anderson. These laws protect people from being discriminated against in schools and workplaces because of their hair texture or style. And joining me to talk about all of this is Ajoabi Asamoah, a racial equity strategist on the forefront of the nationwide Crown Act movement. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a true honor.
So we want to start with first things first. What is the Crown Act? Explain that for people who aren't familiar with it.
The Crown Act is an acronym that stands for creating a respectful and open world for natural hair to, of course, include our protective styles. When passed and enacted, it becomes law, and the law actually extends statutory protection to our hair under the current classification of race. It's historic in that prior to the Crown Act, our hair was not considered a racial characteristic because it's something that can be changed. But our argument is just because I can change it doesn't mean that I should have to. So for example, I'm wearing a blowout today, but I'm 100% natural. But I've also worn an afro, I've rocked Marley twists, I've done braids. And so we are fighting to preserve and protect our right to rock our crowns however we see fit.
And how common is discrimination based on hair? I mean, what kind of stories have you heard? What kind of cases are there about this?
Much more common than many people think. For example, you are an on-air personality. So many people have reached out to share that they have been told that they are going to get passed over for a promotion, that they have had offers of employment rescinded, and that they really can't be upwardly mobile because of their hair, which is unreal. Because oftentimes we are in these environments that are supposed to have these race-neutral standards, but they're really more Eurocentric in that they are perpetuating the same racial inequities that we are seeking to address. And so if you are going into a workplace with many corporations and government entities alike, and you're told that the way that your hair grows out of your head is not welcome here, it's unacceptable, that is a problem. And so we are challenging those standards and challenging grooming codes to ensure that people can actually show up as their whole selves.
Again, why are Black women still creating their own enemy? The funny thing is, males like him have no right to talk about anyone's looks. He's overweight, has a double chin, a scruffy-looking beard, and bad teeth. He's unattractive all around. And here's the thing. When these males complain about wigs, makeup, lashes, weave, it's not that they don't find these things attractive on a well-put-together woman, because they do. These are the same males who will call a woman a whore and then sign up to OnlyFans just to give away their money. Make that make sense. But I digress. The issue is that these types of males are too broke to afford those things, especially if they were to pursue a relationship with you. So they condemn those things, hoping you won't be a financial burden on them. And that's part of the reason he sat there mocking Black women about Brad not being able to run his fingers through your hair. The gag is, they don't even like Black women with natural hair, unless, of course, it's something they consider, quote unquote, good hair. Another racist and texturist trope that they've bought into and perpetuated for years. Black males do not like you, ladies. They find pleasure in your pain. He also mentioned something about Black women, divestors, fearing, quote unquote, Becky taking Brad back. Newsflash. Divested Black women are not intimidated by or afraid of white women taking back their men. First of all, any decent, divested woman who dates out knows this. The majority of white men do not hate their women. So what if they find their own race of women attractive? They should. What are we talking about? Their mothers are white women, are they not? They don't need permission from anyone to date their own kind. What is wrong with you? You know, you are so used to living in such a warped reality that normal things seem very strange to you. It's only you Black males who take center stage to denigrate women who bear the likeness of your own mothers. You all are weird. You look and sound slow when you say such crap.
I'm retarded. I'm damaged.
And I'm talking special, short bus special. What is wrong with you? The retarded thing about all of this is that you all think it's a flex when you say stupid shit like, oh, other races of women are better than Black women. They are raised better than Black women. Huh? What's the matter with you? And the icing on the cake is that these women make better wives. Okay, I got time today. Let's entertain your foolishness for a moment. If other races of women are so wonderful and are raised better than Black women, what does that say about the so-called community, the mindset, and its culture? What does it say about your parental skills? What it sounds like to any coherent person is that the men and the women of said community are trash at raising decent, functional, upstanding people. And as you quite rightly pointed out, the so-called community is a matriarchy. So, if the women are running the show, how useful are the men? Who is usually absent in this equation? Are you feeling stupid yet? Has the penny dropped yet? I mean, seriously, do you listen to yourselves when you speak? So you would rather enjoy the alleged wonderful parenting, the upbringing of other men's children, because what? You can't be bothered to do your job as parents? Where's the logic in that? And who do you think other men look at when they look at the failed community of Blkistan? I'll give you a hint, just in case. It's not the women. Sure, Black women play a huge part in maintaining whatever is left of the so-called community. But aren't men supposed to be ding, 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 the leaders? So let me get this straight. You would rather enjoy the fruits of another man's labor than have to admit that you are in fact a failure? I'll let you ponder on that. You also mentioned code switching and how Black women who date out are constantly trying to sound like white women and not themselves. Okay, before I respond to this, let's define code switching. Code switching, according to Britannica, is the process of shifting from one linguistic code, a language or dialect, to another, depending on the social context or conversational setting. Sociolinguists, social psychologists, and identity researchers are interested in the ways in which code switching, particularly by members of minority ethnic groups, is used to shape and maintain a sense of identity and a sense of belonging to a larger community. That seems straightforward. Okay, here's the thing. Has it ever occurred to you that Black women aren't a monolith? How are Black women supposed to speak? You do realize that it speaks to your inferiority complex when you assume that a Black woman who is educated and speaks proper English, uses proper grammar, is code switching, right? Look, I'm not denying that people code switch. Happens all the time. But it's not the case for all. The default speech pattern for Black women isn't ghetto or uneducated. We all come from different socioeconomic backgrounds and aren't relegated to stereotypes simply because of our race. What you're doing is projecting. Because you can't look further than your own circumstances, you can't imagine a Black woman simply being articulate without code switching. According to you, when a Black woman speaks well, she's trying to impress white folks. God, you're so ignorant. Seriously, you are so ignorant. This quote unquote logic, and I use that term very loosely, is tantamount to the relationship between Carlton and Will from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. This notion that in order to be considered Black enough, you have to have a ghetto edge to you and speak in a certain way, otherwise you're trying to be quote unquote white, is completely outdated. It's very ignorant. You sound dumb. Another thing you mentioned was that Black males don't have to wear wigs, change their voices, or code switch when they date out. Sir, why would you need to wear a wig? Just curious. Aren't you a man? Why would that even cross your mind? Here's the thing. Why are you Black males always trying to compete with Black women? Why is that? That is so strange. Please show me another race of men who do this with women of their own ethnicity. I'll wait. Like I said, the more you talk, the less masculine you sound. Is it any wonder why most of you so badly want to look like women? You likened us, Black women, to RuPaul? Isn't that a gay man whose entire career is predicated upon prancing around in heels, women's clothes, and accessories? Are black women trying to be like him, or is he trying to be like black women? Get it right. You've been around black women for so long that you can't even tell the difference between femininity and masculinity. And this is why the so-called community failed. The majority of males are mentally stunted. You need to quit worrying about black women and who they date or marry, and take care of your arrested psychological development. It's not very manly to worry about women's wig wearing when most of you have sliding hairlines and man weave. Forgot about that? You males are wearing weaves as well. And here's the thing, when it comes to that, black women are not online concerned about your fake hairlines and those 13x6, 24-inch bust downs that some of you are now wearing. What I have noticed, sadly, are black women given support underneath those man weave videos where you all are getting wig installs, partials, fake locks, and toupees. Again, it doesn't matter how the rest of us feel when it comes to certain issues. There will always be pockets of black women who will support you no matter what. So why are you so worried about us? Those women will always be there to support you. Why are you worried about the minority of women who don't want you? It's very bizarre behavior. Now, let's take a look at the following. Fair use YouTube, fair use.
I've been doing the man weaves for about 3 years now. For the first step, we're going to draw out his hairline. I'm going to go in, I'm going to cut his hair down. The scalp protecting goes on after that. And then I use my Ghost Bond lace wing adhesive. I lay the wrap down and I just blow dried it. And just to make sure I get a nice straight hairline, I'm going to lay that down as a guide. And I'm going to take my Ghost Bond adhesive, put it right over it, and then I peel the tape off and I have a perfect line. The first step that I'm doing when it comes to laying the hair, I basically take the dreadlock, I comb out the very bottom of it, and then I'm just laying it right on his hairline. So basically, this is just creating a hairline going all the way around. For the rest of the unit, now I'm going to use the black hair glue. And black hair glue, it's a lot more durable glue. These dreadlocks, they get heavy. And so with this glue, when you lay it on there, it's going to hold on there tight. You're not going to have to worry about it coming off. After all the hair's installed, now you're really just going through and you're going to do your haircut. And that's when it really starts to look realistic.
You also mentioned how black men do not care when black women date out. Lies. Lies. You do. You can't seem to leave swirlers and divestors alone. You especially do circle jerks when some of these relationships fail. Somehow, that brings you joy. Very strange. You talk about divestors all the time. If you were so unbothered, sir, you wouldn't have dedicated an entire 7+ minutes in a video making a mockery of divestors and boasting about how better black males are at interracial dating. You do care. Stop it. I do have to say, however, that your quote-unquote care doesn't come from a place of sincerity. It comes from a place of envy and jealousy. You envy the types of black women who think outside the box and do whatever they want by dating whomever they like. You wish we'd stay put and endure the abuse, but we don't. The jealousy part is when you realize that other races of men can do whatever they want and don't have to be underfoot all the time. Can you say the same? Unfortunately for you, that includes dating and marrying women of your race. Pretend to be nonchalant if you want to. Nobody cares. But I will say this. You're bothered by black women who date out. You and the rest of those other dust buckets would not be creating quote-unquote divestment content, celebrating the deletion of swirlers. Just nasty work. Why don't you worry about yourselves and leave us alone? Thank you and fuck off. On that note, what are your thoughts on what's been discussed here today? Please leave your thoughts and comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And remember, ladies, please don't allow these dusties to steal your shine. Wear your hair exactly how you want to. No one's worried about their painted on hairlines, yet they keep chirping, looking for attention, and trying to be internet famous off of the further fracture of the black woman's image. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Divestment with Purpose. Divest from Blkistan. Divest from Tyrone. Divest like a butterfly. And I'll see you next time. Bye, diamonds.